Jennifer Dunn, co-founder of Bunifu'S.
All right, and I'm Maurice Dunn.
Hi, I'm Nikki Porche. I'm going to pass it to Sonia.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Nikki. I'm Nia Hobson. My company is Sage Services Group.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ariana Mangum.
My name is Dwayne Robertson.
My name is Montoya Smith. I'm new to the board.
My name is Uyo Sunday. I am an experienced school systems executive.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Dr. Legaspi. I'm the Chief Education Strategy Officer for Verite Educational Services. Happy to be here and just so glad to meet everybody today.
All right, so we're going to dive right in to Demo Day. The reason why we actually did a demo day, this is the first time we've ever done a demonstration where you actually got to play with the tools with it. We sent out a newsletter so you could play with the tools because our board from last year, our previous board said, we want to be able to play with the tools. We want to be able to see what you've done over time. And so we decided, okay, let's have a demonstration day about an hour and a half so you all can see and feel what we do here at Bunifu and what we provide for schools and districts and also state departments. I was just introducing the BCG matrix. So essentially, this is how you rank programs and services. Organizations look at, okay, is this program or service a star? Does it have high impact growing initiative? So can it grow momentum over time? And it's very well received. And then also on the matrix is the cash cow. Essentially, this is something that an organization means that they can sell real quickly. It's stable, it's consistent, and it is revenue generating. So this is well refined and could be relied on regularly. Question mark. Now, this is a new offering with unclear potential. So this feels new and promising, but its full value is uncertain. And then the dog, meaning outdated. It's underused as an offering. This seems underutilized or no longer needed. Now, we know that many of you are not all educators, but we felt that it was really important for you even to look in the context. We kind of gave you some scenarios of how our profile of a client would look. And then we asked you to then look at, the various different buckets. We had 5 buckets that you looked at and rank them based on the BCG matrix. And so these 5 buckets I have written here: student solutions. So there were several different things that you could look at: e-learning modules, which were like self-paced modules; educator tools, which were tools specifically for educators to support the work with their students; strategic and technical assistance was about strategy planning with districts as well as the states. And then also providing technical assistance, which is like professional development and meetup groups. And then professional development, which is just direct workshops and supports for educators in training. And then curriculum development. We wrote curriculum for the first time this past year and actually got it published and copywritten. So we're putting that out there, but we want you to think about and rank these on where you see. And you guys were in different places and gave us some really good input. So as we go through your input, we're going to ask you some questions, but Marissa is on here as well. And we're going to have the other project manager to talk about, if you have questions about some of the, programs and services that we're providing.
Maurice, I think as I was looking at the modules, number one, I love it because it's interactive. There's audio, there's some videos and, wordings, narrative and all that. I think my general question in those modules, I know that those were specifically developed for Keep Foundation or Baloo and all that. So as you're thinking about using those types of models, I'm assuming that if you build something, then it becomes the ownership of Baloo or it becomes the ownership. Are you trying to kind of use that same kind of concept of modules and then develop something here or customize it for the next school district or for the next school? But that was kind of, the only thing that comes to my mind when I was reviewing those modules.
Yeah, so many of the modules are generalized. So when you talk about admissions or you talk about financial aid or you talk about, that's not proprietary information, it's informed information for students. So a lot of the modules can be used for general use. Financial literacy is not a proprietary information. So many of the modules we have actually used again and again. We don't necessarily use specific things that are very customized to a district or a school because they may use different lingo or language and so forth, but we do utilize the concepts, and many of the modules can be reused again without necessarily using proprietary information.
So one of the things that I do is like support Jennifer bringing a proposal to finalization, right? And so she'll send over a lot of reference projects to kind of put together. So I try to look at it like these are white label or customizable projects. So these, in one way, we're designing for a client to meet their need, but we're also, by the end of the project, thinking about their integration, we are kind of also setting up the, okay, well, what's the right scenario? What are the best practices? And that kind of plants the seeds to like white label it elsewhere.
You know, one of the things that kind of popped into my mind, and I recall adding to that comment that even though we're talking about graduates, what I do know is that there is a fear or an intimidation around like paying back loans, just because so much of the interaction, whether it's with the feds and so on and so forth, there's such legalese language around things, right? That, you know, people don't want to just read documents, right? So the interactive piece to me kind of stood out as an opportunity to soften and make positions people to better understand just some of the language and the supports that they may have. So my wondering is, how do we take away some of those, or at least hedge some of the language so it's not so intimidating to the user on the back end? And I think, you know, perhaps making it interactive in a way where it has a dynamic feel beyond just a pamphlet, that might be something to think about.
I was going to offer that if you could do a pre-survey to kind of document where people were, like, I don't want to take out any more money. I know people who have gone broke because they don't have whatever. This language is, you know, overwhelming. I'm not understanding the paybacks, you know, like a pre-survey, because it's been my experience in the most at-risk families, they already have a lot of debt. And so when you say the word debt payback loan, it's always a barrier and a challenge. So that to me is how you customize to break down those feelings about this is going to help invest in me. The other thing is I would have a big sign that said, do not stop, because people get in trouble when they drop out, stop out. Now those loans are coming due. And so even explaining that, like after you come out of school or you drop below so many hours, that's when the payments kick in. And this is how long you have before you get a job, before the repayment, you know, has to happen. Those are the kinds of things I try to share with people to make them feel more comfortable about taking out money.
I think to add to Ui's point and Dr. Brown's point as well, is also kind of thinking about to creatively, if there's going to be some pushbacks from union or teachers just didn't have time to do that because they need to concentrate. I mean, also kind of how do we utilize these modules in after school programs in middle school and high school? I think when I run, you know, the after school program for the district, one of the things that people were saying, okay, well, we can, it's not just an enrichment activity, but what are other creative ways of kind of helping the middle schoolers and high schoolers actually prepare and have them start thinking about college? You know, I think this is a perfect way to do it as well and introduce it, you know, either as an elective or also in the extracurricular activities, such as after school or summer school program. So not just a traditional 8-hour, you know, instructional period, but also kind of utilizing the other instructional activities happening at the school.
And it sounds like you already understand how to get those connections the after school programs, like I said, you've already kind of had that happen, kind of happenstance, sounds like. Maybe just kind of digging deeper into that in some of the cities that you maybe have good contacts in, or like, for example, if that's something you're going after, maybe, for example, I can find out who are the key players to some of the districts, because, you know, for the ones that are running those, that are, you know, doing well with the after school stuff, that are touching more than one districts, I think that might be on the level that y'all are used to, you know, versus a one-off here or there, or that kind of, I don't think that fits what y'all are doing. But, you know, maybe just building relationships with after school, the district that you're in, like build relationships with the after school, like key players that are in the high, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like there are sometimes some of those companies, they're in 2 or 3 districts. So if you catch one of those companies, then you're automatically in those 2 or 3 districts, if that makes sense.
I just want to give a couple of announcements before we close and thank all of you for coming. But we do have our in-person board meeting, which is September 20th for all the board members. It will be in Arlington, Virginia. You should have received lots of information already about it. If you need to reach out to me or Antonetta, that's beautiful Antonetta's picture. She's been with us since the beginning, actually, I think like 6 years. And she is now just taken on the support role. We had Tisha, but she's actually working with her MBA program and doing a capstone project, which she really wanted to focus on. So Antonetta's kind of taking up the slack and doing some social media, which is so new to her at this point. But she said, I'll do it, Jen. I believe in the organization. So she's helping us out. So if you have any questions, you can, of course, contact her about any of the meetings and so forth. Also, virtual strategic partnerships, State of the Union. We usually have a State of the Union every year. This is with all of our subcontractors. We kind of talk about where we are as a business or organization. And so that'll be November 15th from 10 to 12. And so that's essentially our updates. I really appreciate you all coming.